Alright, what's up guys? So I've got a little bit of time, I've got a few errands that I need to run, but there are two things that I've done to the car recently that I want to talk a little bit about. So this video is going to be focused on my two most recent modifications, but first I gotta get some of these things done, so let's go take care of that. One of these things needs to be getting rid of the gorilla. Alright, so obviously I'm on a highway, but there's a dude riding his bike out here where there's like no shoulder whatsoever. Crazy. Man, sometimes the sounds that this car and the exhaust makes are just crazy. I have a video on Instagram if you're curious about how I get the downshift cracks like that. This is a stock exhaust and everything in the Quadrifoglio. It is possible to get really good sounds out of this car the way it is. It's just kind of a little bit of work. Man, hopefully none of that came across in the video, but the radar detector is the enemy of shooting a YouTube video in the car. It's ridiculous. It's so annoying on video. But I drive with one all the time and I tune it out and then I watch video back and it seems super annoying to me. Okay, so like I mentioned, there are two modifications that I've done recently to the Quadrifoglio. Let's talk about the first one. It's a little bit simpler. It's inside. It's more of a day-to-day convenience feature, but this is what that is. There's a company called ProClip. They make iPhone mounts. They're pretty bespoke to different cars, so they have different mounting points for different cars. They make the mounting points specifically for your car so it fits in a good, convenient location. They're US made, really cool product. Don't remember how I stumbled across them, but I reached out to them. They told me in exchange for a review, they'd send me a unit, just be honest about my review. So they did give me a free product for this, but my opinion is not influenced by that. This was a company that I found on my own, and I don't get any kickback for any sales or anything that they get. There's no affiliate information for them. So this is just my honest review of what the ProClip was like, and so let's look at that now. Okay, so here it is installed in my car. I've got an iPhone 11 Pro Max, and I've got a Apple case on it right now. So they make different mounts for different phone configurations, and when I say different phone configurations, I'm thinking about the size of your phone, the make of your phone, as well as what kind of case you use. So this is their mounting solution for a iPhone with a thin case like I use. They also have a different solution for thicker cases. So if you have a really bulky case, maybe a wallet case or something like that, they have a different configuration that might work for your phone. You buy this in two pieces. So the main piece being your phone mount here. This is adjustable. If you undo these two screws, you can change the width of this so it can be a little bit more flexible and fit your phone and your case configuration. The other thing that you buy with this is this mount back behind. So this is a pivot mount that I've got for the phone, but back here is a plastic piece. In my car, that's going to go underneath the trim for the air conditioning in here, as well as up underneath the screen behind the other side of this trim piece. They sent me a pry tool and everything that I needed to install this. There's adhesive tape up here to make sure nothing rattles around. And even before getting this other piece on here, this was super solid. It doesn't rattle, it's not gonna make any noise whatsoever. And this is kind of what I'm talking about with it being bespoke to a car. This is clearly designed so I still have access to my vent switch here. With my phone in here, I'll turn it around so you don't see my wallpaper. You've got full access to the display. I don't have a touch screen, but if I did, I'd be able to touch any portion of that, and my display ends about right here. So as far as being able to see everything, I can see it no problem. Like I mentioned, I've got this in here in a pivot mount, so I can get this exactly where I want from my driving position. So if I'm sitting here, I can see the phone out of the corner of my eye when I need to. I do have CarPlay, so I don't have to worry about that stuff too much. But for when I do need to look at it, it's really nice to be able to access it so easily. So I've got USB here, and there's just the short path here. And so in the Giulia without a mount like this, what I was doing before is I would just throw my phone in this cubby down here where the cup holders are, but it was kind of annoying to have that opening and closing all of the time. And as far as the looks goes, the carbon fiber is way better, so why not let that shine? And what I've done in previous cars that I didn't necessarily want to do in this car was have a little clip here with a magnetic mount where a piece of metal is in the back of the phone and it clips onto that. As you can imagine, if it doesn't stick out just right, like I can't get this kind of angle on a mount like that. So this really worked out like a lot better for what I was looking for. So I've been using this configuration for a little over a week and a half now, and I'm super happy with everything. There have been no rattles whatsoever. My phone sits in the mount super solidly. Yeah, really, there's no problem with it whatsoever. Everything that came in the box was perfectly labeled. I got instructions specific to my car for installing it in my car with photos and instructions and everything. It was great. So yeah, shout out to ProClip. This is an awesome mount. I think you should check it out. I'll put a link to their website down below. Again, I don't get any kickback for this. They did send me a free product just to get my honest opinions on it, and these are my honest opinions. I'm super happy with it. I will probably look at buying one for my wife's car. It's not the cheapest mount out there, but again, it's perfectly made for your car. It's been tested for your car if they show a mount for it. And there's different solutions that are really cool. If you want to do a wireless charging setup, they have options for that, which seems super cool to me. I like using a cord. It charges a little bit faster, but it's nice to have those options out there. Yeah, this mount is completely perfect. I couldn't be any happier with it. Before I get into the next thing, I want to stop and thank you guys. This YouTube account has grown pretty significantly, at least in my opinion. We're almost nearing on 50 subscribers, and I know that doesn't sound like a lot. I know there are way bigger accounts out there, but honestly, this is, you know, having the 40 or so people that we have right now watching is super cool to me. That's 40 actual people that are interested in the Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio stuff that I'm putting out there. And I think my experience, and I don't know, I'm just super humbled by that. I think it's really awesome. I didn't expect to have that many people following already. So I appreciate all of your support. If you've been watching these videos and you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. If you like this video so far, please like it down below. It helps a lot with the algorithm. It's an uphill battle when you're a small creator trying to get out there. And if you've got any questions about the car, as always, throw them in the comments. Also, leave a comment down below and let me know what you would do to your Quadrifoglio. Do you have a Quadrifoglio? If you do, what have you done to it? What are you gonna do to it? And if you don't, what would you wanna do? What would be the first couple of modifications that you would make? I know for a lot of people, an iPhone mount isn't a huge one, but man, the daily convenience of that is super nice. And I think this next modification, I will get people a little bit more excited, and I think it's going to show a little bit more about the direction that I'm going to take this car. But yeah, let's check it out now. Okay, so we're outside of the car now, and if you check this out, the car is definitely lowered now. And so the 2019s, if you know this already, it's probably because you follow me on Instagram, but the 2019s come with a much higher ride height than the 2017s did. This now is going to sit just a little bit lower than a 2017. So I had the car taken in last week and I had lowering springs installed. I went with the ST springs made by KW, and they've been completely awesome. They have a modest ride height drop over the 2017 springs that came from the factory, but they're not as aggressive as the H&R springs. Also, being a progressive spring rate, they should be a little bit more comfortable. In my own experience, they're way comfortable. So I've lowered cars before, and I've generally done it with springs. I've had coilovers as well, and my spring experience hasn't always been great. I usually feel like you're giving up something, usually ride comfort, in order to get a little bit lower. But the experience with these springs has been awesome. The car is significantly lower than it was, but the comfort to me seems the same. If it's harsher, it's maybe 10% harsher. And I'm a person who drives this car in race mode all the time. At the softest setting that I normally drive in, it's race mode with the like bumpy road button hit. But it's been great. I threw it into natural mode. No, I didn't. I threw it into dynamic mode, and then I softened the suspension from there to get it into its softest setting. And everything was still really compliant. That's like a great highway setting. But I'm used to driving lowered cars, and now I'm back to watching like speed bumps and things like that a little bit more intently. And honestly, that's where I feel at home in a car like this. This is a performance car. You should drive it carefully. It looks 10,000 times better than it did before now that it's got these springs on it. And I think the next thing that I need to look into is spacers. Let me show you what I mean by that. So just looking at the front, you can see that it's sunken in here a little bit. And if I bring the camera over here, you can kind of see like 5mm spacer right here might be really, really good. But the rear, actually, we're probably talking about like a 10mm spacer up front to get that to stick out a little bit more, closer to the fender. And the rear is pretty close. Let me come around the back. The rear is pretty much exactly where I would want it, minus, I would guess, 5mm spacer. So we'll grab spacers for that. That should make everything look a lot better. But this is my first major exterior mod for this car, and I think it looks way better. What do you guys think about it? I'd love to know what you all think. Which way would you go with it? My thinking here, it would obviously be a lot better to go with coilovers. For the price, I decided I'll just drop the money on springs for now, see how it turns out. If it's too harsh, or if I didn't get the drop that I wanted, I was gonna go ahead and just order coilovers a little bit down the road. This would buy me a little bit of time. But I'm super happy with everything so far. I think at this point I'm gonna work on spacers and then move to other aspects of the car. Yeah. I don't wanna get into what those are yet, because I think sharing that experience will be a lot of fun, but I think you all will be happy. I think there's some cool things coming. So that's it. Those are the two things that I've done to the car recently. The ProClip mount, super happy with that, and even more so, the ST lowering springs are awesome. I could not be happier with that move. I would buy those and then do that all over again. So if you guys like this video, please subscribe. I'm super happy with the growth that we've gotten so far. Let's just continue to see how far this goes. Leave a comment below if you have any questions that you want answered about the Quadrifoglio, or if you have ideas for modifications that I should look into in the future. And, you know, if you like this video... Did I already say that? I know I've said it in previous videos, but asking for likes and subscriptions and stuff just does not come naturally. It feels super weird. It feels super spammy, but if it works, it works. So, yeah, I'd appreciate it. Yeah, I don't have anything cool to say to close out this video, so I'll see you guys in the next one.